Some time ago, someone left a comment on this video asking about sexual issues caused by his internal cultivation. Then a few months later, another young man emailed me, also seeking help with sexual problems triggered by his practice. Although these two individuals are experiencing completely opposite symptoms, I've personally gone through and dealt with both situations at different stages of my journey. These are actually very common issues for dedicated Neigong practitioners, especially among younger people. That's why I've decided to create this video and talk in more detail about it. Let me begin by responding to the person who left that comment on YouTube. He said he had been practicing Neigong internal energy cultivation for a while, and recently his sex drive dropped significantly. Physically, he has no more sexual desire, but emotionally, he still misses the intimacy. Judging from what he described, I believe he is likely a young man. He asked me if there's a way to reignite his sexual desire and regain his sexual ability, so he could continue his path toward immortality while still enjoying the pleasures of sexual intimacy in this human life. So I replied to him, "You want both? That would make you a half immortal." He thought I was joking, but actually there is really such a thing as half immortal. I'll explain more about different levels of immortal in the future. First of all, I don't know exactly what he's been practicing, and whether his issues are truly related to his practice is a big question mark. He could simply be dealing with hormone imbalance or other physical conditions. But let's assume for now that his lowered sex drive is indeed a result of his internal practice. In that case, it's actually a good thing. Whether you are practicing Daoist inner alchemy, Kundalini yoga, or any energy-based system, you are bound to pass through this stage. In Daoist terms, this is known as refining essence or Jing into Qi. Jing is a dense, subtle energy in the body. It can manifest as various body fluid, depending on your physical needs, like saliva, hormones, blood, bone marrow, brain fluid, lymphatic fluid, and sexual fluids. Many internal energy systems begin by refining this essence into higher frequency Qi. There's a popular Daoist saying, "When Jing is full, there's no lust. When Qi is full, there's no hunger. When Shen, which is spirit, is full, there's no need for sleep." I believe many of you who have cultivated well can relate. When your Qi is strong, you barely need to eat. When your Shen is strong, you can go without sleep. During my retreat in the past few years, I only need 4 hours of sleep per day. And when your Jing is full, you don't feel sexual craving. That's the same logic. So if someone has reached this stage where the body don't feel the need, but the mind is still attached, that's actually a spiritual hurdle. It's a test he must pass through on his own. If he decides he doesn't want to go further in spiritual cultivation, and instead want to rekindle desire and enjoy bodily pleasures, that's very easy to do. But it will be difficult to make great progress on the path. That's an old saying in Chinese culture. When one is free from desire, one's character naturally evaluates. The fewer desires you have, the more elevated your spirit state becomes. Most people are trapped by emotions and desires, so having fewer needs is always beneficial for cultivation. As you progress, all your physical desires naturally fade. Over 20 years ago, I knew a young woman who taught herself some Daoist practices through books. She too reached this stage of losing sexual desire, but she felt that was unnatural and gave up her practice. What a pity. So you need to be very clear. Do you still want to enjoy sensual pleasures? Or do you seek spiritual liberation? Some people may say, why not do cultivation? Before we get into that, let me explain sex from an energetic perspective based on my understanding and experience. The moment we have a sexual thought, our vital internal organs, especially the five strong organs, which are the heart, lungs, kidneys, spleen, and liver, begin converting their essence into sex, energy, and hormones. Even if we don't act on it, this energy and these hormones may still generate a feel-good sensation, but they are already becoming waste, and we will eventually leak out through urine or wet dream. Sometimes one may suddenly get high for a short while. This is an indication that the sexual energy has dispersed. Now some teachings claim you can recycle this transformed essence back into usable qi. While it is possible to recover a small portion, you'll never get back 100%. A partial recovery is better than nothing, but it's still a loss. So if you go further and engage in sex or masturbation, then even more subtle essence get converted into sexual fluids. Occasionally, during intense orgasm, all your body's energy channels will fully open for a very brief moment. You may even feel connected to the universe. A beautiful and transcendental experience. This sensation is very similar to the joy of entering a certain state of samadhi in deep meditation. At that moment, you and your partner may feel completely united, especially if both climax simultaneously. But this union, aside from the obvious body fluid exchange, there is also energetic and karmic exchange. If your partner carry hidden illness or karmic burdens, they may affect you. Because all your energy channels are fully opened in that moment, it feels amazing, but that feeling fades. Practitioners who are sensitive to qi will eventually notice a drop in energy afterward. Because as mentioned earlier, you've consumed a significant amount of your essence to reach that state. It may take days or even weeks to recover, depending on your age and qi level. That's why in real do cultivation, you're not supposed to ejaculate. Sometimes it is beneficial to have qi exchange with your partner. For example, if you lack fire energy and your partner has excessive fire energy. As for karma, the one with a lower spiritual level benefits from the one who has a higher spiritual level. That said, if you are a couple who live, eat, sleep, and do many other things together, it is not necessary to engage in do cultivation to have this qi and karma exchange. It happens automatically. Historically, some masters taught their disciples to practice do cultivation for a specific reason, to help them recognize what it feels like to reach a certain state of samadhi in deep meditation. Most of the students were young boys who had no sexual experience. so the intense orgasm could serve as a reference for what deep meditation should feel like. But the master had to choose carefully who to pass on this teaching to, because it is very easy to fall into addiction and derail one's spiritual path. It is just like some schools use hallucinogenic substances to help students temporarily reach a certain spiritual state. If you remember, a year ago, I wrote in my newsletter that someone from a tech company became very creative after an ayahuasca retreat, but eventually he got deeply addicted to it. Over the centuries, many people have used do cultivation as an excuse to indulge, especially those with power or wealth. Many fake masters also use it as an excuse to have sex with young girls. While under the right circumstances, do cultivation may offer some chi and spiritual benefits, it has little help in real spiritual liberation. Having said that, Daoism does have a branch called Su, the art of bed chamber, which teaches techniques to enhance sexual performance and minimize essence loss during intercourse. Some methods even teach how to absorb your partner's life essence, yuanjing, for your own benefit. But as I said before, when you absorb someone's essence during orgasm, you also absorb their hidden illnesses. Even if your skill is really high, so high that you can extract life essence while blocking hidden sick chi during such a brief moment, you cannot block karma exchange. That's why those who only care about physical alchemy without spiritual growth may pursue this path. Absorbing another person's life essence carries serious karmic consequences unless the other party willingly offers it. Historically, those who engage in this practice are mostly men, but due to anatomical differences, it is actually easier for women to perform this kind of energy absorption than men. Now going back to the person who left the comment, if his issue is indeed a physical decline in sex drive and ability, then as I've mentioned, there are many Daoist techniques that can restore both. When I was exploring different schools of Daoist inner alchemy, about 20 years ago, I attended a Daoist Neigong retreat in Beijing. Afterwards, my then girlfriend said, "Wow, I don't know what you have learned in Beijing, but please keep practicing it. I love it." Later on, I introduced this inner alchemy method once at a semi-private workshop in the UK. On the second day of the workshop, one female student told me that after the first day's session, she went home, practiced, and woke up in the middle of the night with a powerful sexual urge toward her boyfriend. She said she had never experienced such an intense sexual desire in her life. My upcoming I Ching workshops are also very suitable for young men. Not only will I teach the advanced version of the foundational forms, which is not available in the home study course, I will also teach some methods designed to strengthen male sexual vitality. Okay, that should address the first person's concern. As for the second young man, he's dealing with opposite problem. He already has a spiritual guru, practices yoga and meditation, and also practices Subhasa from my book and video. He's still a university student. His issue is excessive and overwhelming sexual arousal. For instance, If a female classmate even slightly touches his hand, he gets an erection, which troubles him deeply. First of all, besides Tsubasa, I don't know precisely what he practices. I'm sure Tsubasa didn't cause this because it is a gentle and safe practice. Indeed, all the issues I mentioned in this video won't be caused by Tsubasa. So I told him to ask his teacher first. His guru advised him to direct that energy to higher chakras, which is a valid method and consistent with Daoist approach. But apparently, he struggled to do it and said it didn't help much. So I taught him instead, when you feel that urge, and if circumstances allow, immediately practice Tsubasa to circulate the energy throughout the body so it doesn't pull at the base of your lower dantian. He tried this a few times and said it is very effective. I also advise that when closing the practice, don't store the energy in the lower dantian. Instead, gather it at the middle dantian. Lastly, let's talk about another young man who is a student in my Daoist Neigong course. His problem is whenever his practice improves, he experiences wet dreams, leaking out energy. He asks how to deal with this. As I mentioned earlier, whenever we have a sexual thought, the body starts converting essence into sexual fluid and energy. Even without masturbation or sex, those fluid and energy will eventually leave the body through urine or a wet dream, or suddenly make you feel high for a short while this energy is passing. So the first thing is to avoid exposure to anything that triggers your sexual impulses. In many lineages of Taoist internal alchemy practice, the first step is to charge the lower dantian, fill it with energy, and transform it into higher level energy to forge the golden elixir. When the lower dantian is full, if the energy isn't quickly transformed upward, it may revert back into Jing and leak out naturally, like an overflow tank overflowing. This kind of natural overflow doesn't cause much energy loss. A few days of practice can replenish it easily. Just remember, when your tank is nearly full, you need to focus on transforming the energy. There's another possibility. Some beings exist that specifically fed on human essence. That's a trickier situation. First, make sure you are energetically clean. If your mind is constantly filled with lustful thoughts, you are likely to attract such entities. This is the law of attraction. It might even be karmic. Perhaps in a past life, you owed something, and now you finally have enough money, which is chi in this case, to repay your debt. If your energy is drained by one of these beings, the feeling is very different from natural overflow. You will feel extremely fatigued, and it might take weeks to recover. One of the solutions is to practice the Medicine Buddha mantra, which I shared in an earlier video. Among the Medicine Buddha's great vows is the protection of those who recite his name, shielding them from having their life essence drained by external entities. I've personally faced many of these issues since I began cultivation in my 20s. I hope this video can offer some guidance and support to others going through the same.